Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Poet Is a Human with the Philosopher Dunamis on this week's episode number 10, Fight for Patience. Please be sure to hit the like button on your way in. And I'm just saying, if you like us, you need to consider subscribing to keep up with our episodes on YouTube and give us a follow on X.
And Fightcast is here to empower individuals to live healthier, master their finances, pursue their dreams, and inspire others through self awareness and global impact. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only and not financial advice.
Dunamis, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing great. This is a good week, I think, but it's sort of a transitional week almost.
Yeah.
It's like we had two really kind of weird weeks, and then
Mhm.
things are kind of feeling up. But on my end, how are you doing?
Looking up, looking up. I'm in the same boat. Transition last 2 weeks have definitely been character building.
Yeah,
Definitely had a fall season in my mind. A lot of leaves fell off. A lot of different colors were occurring in my mind for sure. And I hit a quick winter or a reset, as some would call it. And now we've got some of that rain that's just washing some of those old prints, and we've got some flowers blooming.
that's what we need. I mean, we're almost. It's not quite springtime yet, but we're just about there. I think we're kind of in the last throes of winter, aren't we now?
Well, the groundhog did see its shadow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's ominous.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, if you follow us on a regular basis, we're going to follow and give you a sense of what things are going on in news and in the world as they're happening in real time. But we also understand that we don't have a real big audience yet. And so if you're going back through and listening to episodes in sequence, it's been an interesting first month.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Let that sink in. January has come and went.
It came and went. And there's been nonstop news. And
Yeah.
to say that there's been a bombardment, however you feel about it, there has been a bombardment of information. I think Trump is a fantastic person in the sense that I think that what he's doing is ultimately gonna hopefully be very good for this country. I mean, I wanna put all of my faith and belief in the fact that this will turn out well. The irony is, I don't know. I don't know the future.
Hmm.
We could look back on this 10 years from now and say, what were we thinking? Or
Sure.
we could look back at this 10 years from now and say, my God, this was the beginning of everything.
Yeah. And I feel that if anything, he's definitely got the audience wondering what's going to happen next. If
Yeah.
anything, for sure. Now we're in these places where we have to just sit back and be patient,
Yeah.
play our roles, execute those roles well, stay grounded. These are the times to be grounded. And I feel after this election, a lot of friendships, families, the world, whatever, all of it, there was a lot of, it sounds weird when I say it, but it was like indirect transparency. I feel like I've seen people on social media requesting to be unfollowed if you support of one party or another, which that doesn't help. I've seen division, or some would call it trimming the fat. I've seen a lot of double-edged swords. Being kind right now is more important than anything I feel and being patient with others, because
Oh,
everyone has perspective. Everybody has perspective on this, and they also have a way that they live their life. And then I was having a conversation earlier with, a good friend of mine about this, about just really knowing what it means to be empathetic towards others when you're not actually them, but still being able to put yourself in somebody's shoes and being able to look from the other side of the lens of what your eyes see. And that's a heck of a superpower that is developed over time. And it's not something that you're not necessarily not born with it, but that is just an over time experience. There's tenure in that, because to be patient, like, what does it mean to be patient?
mhm.
You know, when have you been tested?
It's like we said in some of the blog, or it's funny I said blog post. Like we said in some of the in the X post this week, that patience is not a passive thing. You know,
Hmm.
it's patience is what happens in between your planning, your setup,
Hmm.
and like we could we could use an example of getting in shape. This is something that I would like to do at some point. I'm not right now, so the good time to talk about it, right? Um, it's so many of these things we talk about and then we never act on, right? But that's what the patience is. It would be me saying, all right, well, if I'm going to work out every day, I probably need a place to work out every day, a time to work out every day. I need to make it, turn it into a habit. If I can get a gym membership, that's great, or have some weights at home or something that I can lift, right?
Hmm.
Um, I do take a walk every day, so maybe I could, at the tail end of when I take my walk, build a habit of having a short workout routine at the end of my walk every day, right? So that would formulate a time and a sort of a ritual habit that would help me carry out that goal. Now, the eventual goal is that I'm going to create some change bodily, right? By carrying out this ritual every day. It's not a pleasant ritual. This is something that people give up because it's a grind. You don't want to do it every day, and the problem is we expect that we're going to see something happen when we start to do it. And that is not how this universe works. Like, we were learning and we've been seeing that as we discover and put ourselves into the right mindset and formulate our strategy,
Hmm.
and we carry out some of those things that we've talked about previously, it sets us up strategically to be in the right position at the right time. But now we've pulled that trigger and I have the tokens in my wallet, or I have the gym membership that I've signed up for, and now I have 30 days to figure out if I'm going to keep it or not, right?
Hmm.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
So now it's a time game. It's not a sprint anymore. I've already figured out that I want to do something. So I think one of the things we've talked about even previously in the mind episode was getting over the fear of starting something. So we've accomplished that and gotten past that, but what so often happens when you start out and start to do something is immediately you're tested in every which way, shape, and form by, in Stoic philosophy, they would say that there's an obstacle that you encounter, and Marcus Aurelius would say the obstacle is the way. So
Hmm.
there are people in your life that come into your life that for better or worse, they're not helping the situation from your point of view. They're maybe complaining about how you're doing things, or maybe this person is an obstacle in your situation. Now, I think along the lines of what we've been talking about, what you were saying earlier, and remembering from a Christian point of view that we don't war against flesh and blood, right? Is that you don't want to view other humans as just an obstacle. They're not something to be conquered and
Correct.
taken over, right?
Correct.
Along the same lines, when you have confrontations and things come into your life, you have to recognize sometimes what Marcus Aurelius is saying when he says the obstacle is the way, is to say that
Yes.
the doorway can open sometimes through these people. You know, I've made
Right.
friends sometimes out of enemies in the past that would be surprised because they treated me poorly and I treated them kind in return. You know, there are so many things you can do in life, and relationships are strategic. I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but to bring it back around, I would say that we set up our strategy, we set up our people, we set up our community. We decide what it is we're going to do. We have a goal, we have a mission, and as we set out and put our foot out, what we're talking about tonight is as soon as you take that first step, you're going to encounter resistance. That resistance could be nothing happens and
Right.
you're just bored because nothing's you thought by working out your muscles were going to get bigger. You didn't realize it takes years of grinding that out.
Right. 100%.
And I think that so much of life is understanding that, and what patience is the best way to do patience, I think, is the people that do it the best are the people that figure out how to enjoy the grind. If
Yeah.
if you can grind and enjoy the grind, then like you just unlocked the secret to life, man. You know,
Right.
I think in my 45 years, that's what I would say is the secret to life right there.
Oh yeah. And defining what the grind is
Yeah.
too, because the grind doesn't have to be the 9 to 5 grind. It doesn't have to be the extraordinary, excruciating labor grind. It doesn't have to be that type of grind when you say it like that. The grind is having the mindset of being able to put things into place for things to become a causality equation. You have a causality equation for everything. That goes back into the conversation I was having earlier. I'm loving this right now. We were talking about how people who are quote unquote obstacles, like you said, the obstacle is the way. Those instances, you have these scenarios where something is opposing you, but something is also challenging you as well. And it's something that is really not jiving. And you just want it to be done with, right? But then on the other end of it, what is that teaching you? What is that teaching you? What is it saying about you? Because you may not feel that way, but for some reason, for one reason or another, and it could be bizarre, in person or whatever feels that way about you. Why is that? So then that also now you got to be able to like have some introspective on it. Like, okay, why do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Conquering that thought of what others are thinking and not letting those projections. You got to be the filter. You got to be the filter of those things. You have to be the one that vetoes these thoughts and these bills, these preconceived notions of what the world wants you to see and what you've allowed the world to show you.
Because so much of what we take in these situations is we're thinking that this is a reflection of what someone sees in us,
Hmm.
and yet it's
Absolutely.
not. It's something that we're seeing in ourselves. It's something that's being our conscious, our, or you would say our imagination, our thoughts, our desires, as well as our shame and everything that we're afraid of and everything that we hope for is projected out from us. And no, so many people don't realize that we all do it. It happens to everybody.
Right.
What we've
Definitely.
seen recently, I think, is in the mental illness realm, not to get too crazy with it, but I think there's been a proliferation of it, which has made it easier to spot. But this is not, if anything, it is now opened up a lot of people's eyes to the way reality actually works, because it sort of shows some cracks in the matrix that kind of help us to see that, oh, okay, so this thing that's bending and not breaking is because of some actual natural laws of the universe that's causing this to all happen, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And if it's according to a natural process and that can be observed and we see it, then it really, it seems like whatever you can imagine, you can see fulfilled if you can imagine the path to get there.
Hmm. Apply it. Yeah. Put it into it. That's why vision boards are really important. A whiteboard,
Yeah.
writing those things down, checking them off, physically performing the action of doing that. I love that when I make music and I have that thought. And initially it's in the shower, the hot shower. That's where I think all of that starts to I start to pile together and piece together and put it all together. Then I start to write it down, start to put it together. It starts out as chicken scratch because that's what it is in my mind. It's this whole equation of just it's just a bunch of words that are scattered, and I purposely do that. I purposely do that just from like an artistic standpoint because I want it to come out chaotic on the paper because that's
Well, and
how
you
it
also
started
have
out.
more. You get
Yeah,
like a wealth of resources, right?
exactly. And you're just all over the place, man. You're all over with it because you got names, you got beat selections, you've got this and that and the third, and it's not all together because you don't have like this may not be the final name, but then as the pages go on, it gets cleaner, 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 and then
Yeah.
eventually, then it just becomes this one balanced thing, and then yeah,
It's like you're collapsing the possibilities down into the now in a quantum sense almost too. It's like you're taking all of the different things, the possibilities that could be, and as we make that choice, it brings it all in. That's really what creation is, right?
mm-hmm,
You're you're tapped and in touch with all of the creativity that's around us. And someone who's creating is able to focus in with the skill of understanding, if it's music, it's by understanding what sounds good. If you're a carpenter, it's by understanding the skills and the trade and what it takes to make a nice cupboard or a great
mm-hmm,
table or whatever it is,
yeah,
over years. Like you're saying, that's why it takes all this years and experience, right?
mm-hmm.
And once you learn the patience, how to apply the grind in your craft.
Yeah, I think about a nice tailored suit.
Oh yeah.
I think about the Kingsman.
Oh yeah.
some of my the couple of my favorite. And I love that whole. I just love that whole swag and the time that it takes for measurements and to be able to have a suit that's precise to somebody's length of arms and legs and waist and just everything to a T, to a science, to that intricacy of how that movie, embellishes. So I think of that, and these are just certain things that I have in my head when I think about how not only crafting music, but just being able to craft life in itself. How can you tailor life the way that what is meant to be, what you want it to be, and how those two go together, but then what is actually meant to be in whose eyes, all of that. But this is all conversation from humans. So you also have to bear that in mind. That is the actual barrier itself. That is the object. That is the obstacle. Is the actual human. Is now you have everything is theory. Everything is opinion based. So what is objectivity? Then what is science? What is math? What is statistics? What are these things actually?
It's always, you always get more than what you bring to the table,
Yeah,
especially when you're doing it in cooperation with people, and that's, it's just what it is. It's why you always have food left over to potluck, man. It's why it's just when people get together and they cooperate, it's not an additive thing. 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2 in that sense. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but it's like when I bring my piece and you bring your piece and we bring those together, there's going to be something better that comes out of it.
right.
So,
Absolutely. I dig that for sure. And that's the I love how all of this ties into patience. You don't realize just how much patience really factors into everything that you're doing because it's those moments like you said. I love that you said this earlier about it's the moments in between. That is where it's going to challenge your faith in what you're actually doing to really measure like where you're going to be on the other side of that. So what are you doing? Are you walking in place, pulling your hair out? Are you nurturing this? Are you nurturing this? Are you planting it? Are you watering it? Are you giving it sunlight? Are you giving it the right energy for it to become what you see it, how you imagined it? There's a
it,
whole equation that goes into this. It's called doing.
and it's a testing thing too, because it's like it always, I think it always takes longer than we think it's going to take. I think it's always harder than we think it's going to be. I think it always costs more than we think it's going to cost. What kept you going? Like, I know so many people want to quit when they're just getting started because they don't feel like they're they're able right away. Maybe they're just getting started in music and they've written 3 songs
Mhm.
and they feel like, man, I wrote 3 songs and I feel like I should be really good at this now. And what I'm doing is just, I really don't like what I'm putting out. What would you say to that person?
Yeah. So I was very fortunate that I had a community that supported me even when I wasn't trying per se. I was more doing this holiday tea. I think that's when people around me had seen that I had some type of ability to make music, choir, all of that. And doing that, then going to recording, it's different. It is for sure. I had a I had a gentleman who had invested in my dream and had a similar dream, and he was a bit older than I was, but he'd been in a band for a while, and I was giving him the rundown and just telling him what was in, what wasn't, and this and that, and I had someone invest in that. So that was um that was pretty cool, man. Because I just remember those days, man. I'd sleep on this man's couch, and we'd work on music, and just be going over this stuff throughout the day, and that definitely helped me out a lot because when you feel like you're just really bumming it out,
Mhm.
you really just people are like letting you crash on their couch and this and that and the third. But when you look at that, why are they doing that?
Mm.
When you think about it, and even when so this is going to answer the question, but when you think about all of your friends and you think about these people that have let you stay over their place or have given you a hot meal or at least gave you a shower, you've clothes if you needed them or whatever, whatever the situation, but just gave you some form of hospitality, ask yourself why they're doing it. And now on the one end of it, you a pessimist would say is because they feel sorry for me. I would say to the pessimist, it's because they believe in you.
Friends see the best in each other, I think, and the people that are closest to you, man, like, that's they want what's best for you. And
Mhm.
when they reach out, man, that's what it is they see that you're a good place to invest in because they see that brightness, man. They see that. And so that's absolutely what it is. I didn't mean to interrupt you at all.
No, you're good. No, that's what we're conversing for. And it feels good. It's nice too to have friends that will give you a call and ask you, "Hey, when you coming back over?" I love that, man. Cuz that we've made an impression on each other. Like when you come back over, you got to get this business done. Shoot. All right, cool. And my my friends are my friends are dope. Like we're extensive about it.
Mhm.
Shout out to Seth who saucy fight the good fight.
Hell yeah.
Seth and I will spend week, 2 weeks, a month if it a month if allotted, and we have a very solid dynamic with one another. We cohabit well. We respect each other's space.
Oh, hell
So,
yeah.
but we also get a lot of things done, and this has been definitely the transition year of really, really focusing, working out, eating right, having the right mindset and really detoxifying your mind, detoxifying your body. We're very similar in that
Mhm. Yeah.
grind, right? So
There's so
yeah,
many things that need to happen, and yet, when with this big list and trying to prioritize what it is that we have to do, I do think that the health, mental health, physical health, these are kind of things that we all need to kind of put up on top of the list. Talk about how your tastes have also changed. What has maybe changed your tastes in music, and how does that maybe also change the way you see your how well you're performing because also your tastes have changed over the years?
when I was in middle school, I listened to a lot of heavy metal. I listened to a lot of and I think everybody knows heavy metal is heavy and heavy on the emotions too. And I definitely needed that because that was just what I was feeling inside. So I feel like the music that I listened to, it defines it, or it just, and how I walk. It defines how I walk because music is such an important part of life because when you really think about it, words are sounds. Like life is a melody when you think when you really put it into perspective. So with that being said, and just learning the art of just like self-love and self-discipline and being patient and just being able to breathe and like aligning your chakras. A lot of the music that I listen to reflects that too, and just what they're saying. The music that if I'm in that mood where I'm down or and I'm thinking about heartbreak, I'm also listening to something that's this is how we're gonna rise above type of ending. But I like to listen to a lot of classical music. There's one song I like to listen to almost every morning. I haven't been playing it the past few days, but it gets my mind right. It just triggers like the perfect productivity for in the morning to make the bed, brush your teeth, get the couch situated after the dogs have messed up the blankets all night, and get your morning started.
You know,
Uh,
the
yeah.
alignment in your frequency with the music, um, that's such a critical thing that I think, we've talked about scientific discoveries that people are figuring out, and we've talked about frequencies and a lot of that stuff before,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but the the style of music and your taste in music and the fact that understanding these things, um I can tell you that as well. I just there was actually some, I want to say, a couple of songs that I've listened to for years and years and years and I love, and one or two of them I can't even remember what they are right now, but I know that I've taken a few songs out of my playlist recently just because it's just like, yeah, I don't feel that anymore, man. Like it's just not aligned with my vibrations, and if
Right.
I don't want to go to that place because that's just not where I'm at anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. I definitely think that the music that we listen to and surround ourselves with and those frequencies can put us into a certain mindset if we're not already there. So you have to be both careful about that, but you can use that to your advantage too, like you say with the classical music and a lot of that stuff. I've always liked a lot of the ADHD type of video game music,
Uh huh. Yeah.
that sort of I say ADHD, but it's all the everything that's got the little buzzes and clicks and
Oh
fast
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it really keeps the brain occupied, especially if I'm working on a high intensity task. It helps me to lock in.
Yeah. You're Tony Stark.
That's what it is.
Yeah. You're Tony Stark. I knew it.
Oh, is that what he listens to?
Yeah, he likes to jam out to the ADHD music
There we
while
go.
he's building his suits. Or yeah, I think it was what like 80s rock or something like that. Yeah. He's building a suit downstairs in the basement. Anyways. Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. All of that. All of that ties into it. I really like to sit in silence and I really enjoy being able to not to I guess ignore the nuances of the world and really hear what's going on in my mind, really hear my body, really feel like the warmth and feel the blood flowing through my body and feel all of those vibrations. I try hard. I actually stopped. I haven't crossed my legs in a while. Like just like when I sit and you do like the little cross, just because I don't feel as grounded. So now, when I sit more with both my feet planted because now I just feel all of that coming up and it's an instant thing. And I feel like as far as an attention goes, I feel like I channel in more when I do that. I also like to, have my hands in a certain way. And again, this isn't all the time. I just try to practice these things and be conscious about these things too. Because when I listen to people, I genuinely want to listen with the intent to understand because I'm genuinely interested in what people are saying. Because
Mhm.
what people like, because I'm around a bunch of dope people, because just live a dope life. Like can't even, I can't sit here and downplay that at all, and I can say that because the people around me are dope and I'm alive to experience it. So my life is dope because I'm around dope people and that makes me dope. So everything's dope.
Oh, yeah.
And the neighbors think I'm selling dope. So
Oh, man.
Oh man, I'm just playing. I don't think they know my name to be honest with you. But that's what happens when you live out in the country. I don't I think I know the sounds. I think I recognize more of the sound of the gun than I would know. Old Charles over there. I'm like, yep, that was a Smith and Wesson.
Yeah.
He's protected. What is the ultimate breaking point? Not from a physical standpoint, mentally.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's flexible. The reason why, and I'm going to back that up here.
Sure.
um,
I know I just swing it your way. I'm just curious.
it's a great question. The whole reason why flexible popped into my mind right now is because we were talking so much about music. And I feel
Hmm.
like, you know, everyone is grinding to some extent every day. Like we wake up and we've talked about the mind, we've talked about depression. Depression is not being it's not all of the dark necessarily things that it gets associated with. It could be just the lack of a desire to get up out of bed and get shit done, right? Like a normal person. And so everything everything is different for every single one of us. Everyone's going through things differently than what we could possibly understand or imagine. And I never understood that well until I went through some real shit myself. So it's crazy because until that happens, that's really where wisdom I think happens. And
Hmm. Yeah.
I had that moment, and I've had quite a few of those moments. And the breaking point is sometimes necessary, but I think that to keep from getting to that breaking point, because I think a lot of people right now are dealing with it, and I think a lot of people right now are close to it. So if you're trying to have patience and you're in that grind and you're going through all that stuff, like one of the reasons we talked about the power of music and fighting for music early on is because I really think that there's really almost magical powers that come with frequencies in music that touch us at a mental and spiritual level that can calm and heal a lot of those things. And so when you say that, or when you apply that thinking, it means that an individual's breaking point could theoretically almost be almost never reached, because if you could just continually heal their psyche. Now that said, that would be breaks down, because in reality, as nice it is as it is to listen to great Mozart and classical music and all that stuff,
Hmm.
real life, real struggles, real stress hits us all. And no amount of happy thoughts and vibrations in music can push that away, as much as it's very effective, I think, in the short term. Um, there comes a time where, to go back to the question here, and just to show how absolutely neurotic I already am, we're talking about an individual's breaking point. Um, I
Loaded question, ladies and gentlemen. Loaded question.
It is.
Ciao.
I'd say that I'd say that it's wherever the patience fails, right?
Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay.
Like
We're getting somewhere.
it's by definition, it would be that moment when the Jeep happens, when the sell happens, when you sell the bottom, or you quit on that plan. You're always going to go and be a police officer, but a week before going and joining the academy, um, you got a letter that said that you were going to have to perform some extra documentation or an extra physical, or you had to go in above and beyond and you were treated unfairly. And so instead of going and taking that challenge head on, you decided it was easier to quit.
Hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I like what you said earlier about when you have these plans of how to handle things, is there ever a breaking point? I do believe that there is a create and destroy, knock the building down, add to it, upgrades, so on and so forth, seeing another vision with it, not standing still. So yeah, and solutions behind that for sure. But when certain things don't work out, and it could be anything, it could be, your brand of water is not at the store. So you have to settle for this instead of that. That's, kind of in its own way, just moment destroyed, because I anticipated on getting this. Now I have to, this suffices. So all of those things. And when it comes to people, real life, and I know it's always easier said than done. And, I always hear well, I don't always hear it, but you hear it, people hear it, whether it be movies, whatever. You not walked a mile in my shoes, so how would you ever know? Which ties back into what we were talking about earlier about, having true empathy for others. And I don't, for one, I don't personally use that as a uh, it's a means of division. It's a way of, you don't understand me and I don't want you to understand me, versus, yeah, I'm at this point. And when someone tries to resonate with you, and you receiving that reassurance, and then now you're reaffirming, it's there's something to be said with that. And you mentioned this earlier too when we talked about it. It's not about what we want as individuals. Us as individuals, yes, there's progression in that, but the ultimate progression as an individual is how you can become more cohesive in a group. And I feel that that is the purpose of the individual, is to become one. And we talked about that in other episodes of our podcast too, about how you have hundreds of people to form one big fish.
Hmm.
So in this world, it's about cohesion. It's about bridging the gap. It's about wanting to understand each other, wanting to understand each other's beliefs, faiths, hopes, imaginations, and help build with each other to get there. That's the true wealth. We talk about economy problems, and we talk about just foreign affairs, and we talk about wars, and we talk about all of these things. We talk about all of this jazz that humans just do. Humans just got a bunch of freaking money and said, let's go to war over some jazz. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just being transparent with you guys this this wonderful time, this moment. Because I feel like it's here.
Hmm.
But it's not it's not rocket science. It's not. You can fight me in the comments about it. It's not like, you can say this and you can say that, and what about this and what about that? It's not rocket science to just be kind to other people. It's not rocket science to listen with the intent to understand. It's not rocket science to set your pride and your ego to the side. It's not rocket science to be patient. What makes it difficult is the want to participate, the want to exercise. And if you're already having a hard enough time waking up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, how are you going to exercise your mind? Because you can't even condition your mind to wake up to go to the gym. You're not getting up to do something. You're not making your bed. You're not finishing your breakfast. You know, it's all of these little things that tie in to these things. It's not rocket science, because when you want something done, you get something done. If you want water and you know the water's in the refrigerator, in the basement, or out in the garage, you're going to go to whatever location and you're going to get a water. If you need a fork, you're going to get a fork. you know. And I'm gonna be even a little funnier. If you're gonna eat somebody's face, you're gonna eat somebody's face.
The thing is that it's simple. Is that like none of this, like you said, it's not rocket science. There's not a single, spell that somebody has to say, or oh my gosh, are they going to explain it in a way that I can't understand? It's like, if you wake up every day and work out, you're going to get in shape. It's
Yeah.
just, it's really that simple. I mean, if you do the thing and you stick with it and you don't quit, you're going to succeed. And it's that binary. It's that simple. It really
Right.
is. And
All of this.
all of it. It's people just don't believe it because you just cannot believe something that's how can it really just be ABC 1 2 3 and bang,
Same
and
reason why there is an ABC. Same reason why there's a one, a two, and a three. You know, I also want to say my the lady that I was dating at the time was an older lady, older than me, I should say. She wasn't old; she was older than me. But there was a two. It was a two part, and I missed it. But the second part, excuse me, I remember her saying, "Get the f over yourself." And but the first part was, I feel like the first part is very important for that to make sense in context and what I'm trying to say. But just the whole get the f over yourself, like just get over yourself. You know, it's not that you're not important, it's just that you're not the sole reason why other people are here. You know, you have to know your, like the Rock said, know your role and shut your mouth. That's it's real.
it's true. It's true. And not being, not being self-absorbed and not being self-focused and selfish is actually a great way to increase abundance in your life because that's you want to be a conduit for wealth. You want to be a conduit for the flow of energy. And so a conduit or a wire that is always flowing with energy is not just holding it. It's flowing, and it's flowing in and flowing out, right? It's like a currency. And a lot of the stuff that we're talking about really goes back to how we relate to each other and how we relate to ourselves and deal with the passage of time again between the beginning of something and the end of something, right? To bring it back to that. And so many of the problems that we face just because we can't peacefully sit still and allow the passage of time to unfold, and more than having something that we're holding on to or talking about a breaking point or selling or capitulating. I think so much of what can be hard is just being patient to wait to see the plans unfold. The bull run, for example, you know, like that is such a hard thing to put together. The patience to buy the tokens or your stocks or your assets, and you not only have to have the patience to buy and hold, but you have to keep enough of an eye on these things so that when they go up in price, you should never let a good bubble go to waste. And so you want to take profits at the right times. And maybe it helps to get past the mundaneness of the in between points. Everyone felt like we were about to go into a bull run here not too long ago. Just to give our listeners an idea of where we're at again in the market. but ADA, after going up to maybe between, I think it was 120 to 130, fell down to back around the 70-ish cents range where it's been hovering here lately. And that's sort of where we're at the time being. Now, I would tell you that that's probably the most bullish thing that could have happened, because the bull run cannot just go and go up and up and up and up. But we definitely got the signal, like, all right, the horse has been slapped, and hold on to your boots, because the horse may have to stop for a second, and we may have we may even have a black swan event. We may even have a recession. Who knows? I'm not making promises, man. This is not financial advice. But but you know what? In my experience, if history doesn't repeat, they say it rhymes, and I am bullish. I think that this pullback that we've had is like pulling back the rubber band, getting ready to see this thing run again, and I'll be happy to be wrong if I'm wrong. The trick about life is, we'll just leave with something like this, that a big part of patience and a big part of being able to cope with a lot of this stuff is having a plan for either outcome in a situation. You have to be fine with whatever happens. You got to be able to just say, it is what it is, and move on. And if it was something that you think might be a negative thing in your life, understand that it's something that's helping you grow to get to the next step where you need to be. And if it's something that's good in your life too, that's great. But it also, you shouldn't take the good things so overwhelmingly ecstatic either. Like, you have to, there has to be a balance.
Right. For sure. Amen to that.
Yeah, I know we've been going. I'm gonna have to edit some, and so on that note, you made it here to the end. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on X. And since you made it to the end, let's give a raised hands emoji since you made it to the end of the episode.
Raise them high.
Raise them high. And have patience, guys. Never give up the fight.
Never give up the fight.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test, expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off off, I'ma break off from the weak minds, they can stay soft. You can change lives, you create thoughts, never waste time. You got one shot, you got one life, better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5, no mean boss, just my life and free thoughts. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me.